Hey guys, Mike here. So another interesting day in the market, and once again, you are seeing this theme start to shift and play out that we've been talking about over the last like 5 days right now. And we'll get into it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you that because you can clearly see money going from here to here, right? And so that's kind of been playing into the narrative. And there's a reason why the S&P, I think the stat is since like 1921 or something, has been green 74% of the time in December. And so far that narrative is playing out, but what you're seeing is, once again, always look, see what is lagging. Now the laggards are starting to play catch up. How does that happen? Money flows into the laggards, okay? These just happen to be some very big laggards, and they're rotating out of all these high flyers that have been going 8 blank crazy, you know what I was about to say right there. And so they're coming down. Doesn't mean they're crashing, just means they're coming down. Don't mean they can't pump again, okay? We're going to all those stock charts. I'll also show you 2 charts which are very interesting, right? They're really starting to get to the point where there's going to be a breakout at some point in time. And I don't think it's very far away, to be totally honest with you. So we'll get into all that for you. And if you look, again, this is it, folks. Time to, pee or get off the pot, as the saying goes. And so this is the last day. Click on the link right down here in the bottom. Get your 70% off right there. Again, they're trying to push you into the upper one. You can try it out. If you don't like it, then just push down. But again, once you click on that Black Friday special, that's the same link that will take you to the Cyber Monday. Okay, so good luck with that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm starting to roll out videos for the members on this. And again, I'll put it in Saturday's video if you have any questions about TradingView and how to use certain tools and stuff. Now, to start off with, just to keep you updated, we did have JOLTS job openings. To start off here, it came in higher than expected, but you can see it's still trending down. What is the norm? Is it like 2018-19 level? Because that's basically almost where we're at now. And again, it went up so high because why? Immigrants went home and a lot of people retired and didn't come back. So, and of course, people passed away. So we had a lot of job openings. So here we are filling them. And then, of course, we know many companies are getting rid of their job openings and announcing layoffs instead. So the theme, the switching, right? All of a sudden, look at the Qs. Here we are, still within the weekly range. The breakout still continues. Another new all-time high today. We've seen this. How many weeks did I report this? Maybe it's finally happening. But again, there's the weekly fund flows from just last week. 20 billion flowing into large caps, right? Not bonds, large caps. Small caps, mid caps, got some scraps there. This makes sense because now you get these laggards. Look at Apple, still holding the all-time high right there. Look at Meta today. What do we talk about? If it breaks that 50 after challenging it 4 times, it's going to explode higher. I didn't think it would go this high this quick. Thought we'd at least get back to and barely break the all-time high, but it just exploded because one, the options market was just flowing. Calls, baby, calls. Coming in yesterday, coming in today. It was the big winner. Tesla, NVDA were not. And so this one just absolutely, I mean, it's already up where its monthly expected move is. This is the options market expecting this, right? And so again, came down, gave you kind of a retest right there, and boom, exploded back up after it started selling off a little bit. So big day for Meta. So it was a laggard. Now it is caught up. Okay, very popular stock there, as we can see. We'd already pulled these trends right here, or this fib level, excuse me. And we'll pull this up once again in case you got to see it. Where can it go if it continues to push like this and holds that all-time high? Around 632, 634, somewhere in there is going to be your first stop. And so it's had a big 2 days here. We'll see if we finally get some digestion on that. And you look at Microsoft. This one's lagging still. It's been moving up. But here's this trend line, right? We've had 5. Count on 5 rejections now. But it's like it's setting up. And is it going to join its brethren and start moving up? You can clearly see the levels without even putting them on here. If it does break out and do that, it could wedge a little more, but this is what we've been seeing from all of these, right? So Apple's got the bid, Meta's got the bid. We're going to get a couple others that have got the bid now. And so once this does move up, this is the 3rd heaviest weighted stock out there. You can clearly see the levels, right? Just follow where those tops are right there. 436, 441. 447, okay? And we can come up here and we'll pull some fibs for you right here to see, but it kind of matches up, all right? 1.272 comes at that level, and then up there you can see the levels between 447 449. If this one finally starts to get some love like all the rest, normally this is what happens. Now look at Amazon, quietly just creeping up, right? So we had this Black Friday week and everything. Coming out of it, almost coming up to all-time highs right there. Not quite. Didn't quite fill the gap. Part of it, I mean, it's just a very sliver of a gap. This gap doesn't have to fill, but in case we do get a move down, I'm going to leave it in there because that's where you could see a bounce. We start to get a little cool off on this one because it's had a nice week right here, actually last 7 days actually. What's not got the bid? NVIDIA still hasn't got the bid. It's trying to recover, but it's struggling with 140. Again, if it gets rejected at 144.75, as one of the members said, you can probably see a right shoulder forming on the head and shoulders right there. But of all the semis, it really still ain't got a bid, right? You got AMD right here. It's holding this trend line. Little bit of movement. You can see this one continue to wedge. If it can get a bigger bid than this, if NVIDIA can somewhat wake up, you can start to see the semis start to push into December, right? Heavily weighted, highly weighted sector in there, okay? I think NVIDIA is it the second highest weighted now? I always forget because I think it's the heaviest weighted, actually, over Apple now in certain ETFs. You know, but what's happening? This theme, right? IWM was moving. It was absolutely exploding. And all of a sudden, it's struggling, right? Coming back down. Came to that same level where it filled that gap, still holding that, still is like it's trying to flag and everything. You pull up the RSI, and we'll talk about what's happening here. We'll show you exactly what's happening. Again, it looks like it's trying to cross that moving average. We hadn't got the bearish MACD cross yet. I was like, it's working on it. If that happens, obviously we would definitely come down farther. There's no doubt about it. And when you look at this one, what's interesting, if you put it up against the Qs and not the SPY, it rarely outperforms the Qs. But when you look, I can clearly see trend lines I can put on this thing because you can chart a ratio chart same way you can a regular chart. And we're sitting there at a bounce point, okay? Again, I challenge you to try to chart this thing because it works out pretty well. You're not only sitting there, you're sitting at, you can clearly see a level right there coming across, right? So this is a bounce point for IWM if it's going to bounce or not. Again, it doesn't really heavily outperform the Qs. It has its small, like, you know, see a 7-8 day stretch maybe coming in here. But besides that, the Qs are normally, because we're so tech heavy as far as investors and everything, you know, I can see a trend line right here. So again, if it breaks above this, hey, there you go, right? IWM back on fire, okay? Doesn't mean it has to be going straight up to be doing well at all. Just if it's going straight up, it's definitely outperforming tech, which means they aren't going to the Mag 7. What's happening though? You're starting to see stuff like Lemonade. We charted out the other day with these boxes saying it's going to one or the other, right? We finally get a cool off. You're starting to see these squeezes finally get cooled off. People are up huge. I mean, these stocks, 100, 200% since the election, right? Here's some like Blade down 20% right here in the last 3 days. Come over to EVTL again. That one's 33% in the last 3 days. Come over here, and again, they don't mean these are done. Doesn't mean they're going to crash down. It just means they got short squeezed up, right? Now the shorts are gone. Now you got to see if it can handle it and start moving back up. Like this one right here came down 33%. Quantum computing is a big one. Bam, 17% pop in 1 day. So these are high flyers. Once all these start moving again, quantum computing, air mobility, all those others, if they start moving again, here we go. Right, there goes IWM. It will start moving up. So right now, that's just not happening. And another thing is going to be the 10-year. Okay, when you look at this right here, the reason why, one reason IWM, of course, now I've got a bid, is the 10-year got rejected there, right? So what you're looking at is if this MACD crosses that zero line and that RSI keeps falling, this is what you're going to see happening. If that happens, you're going to see small caps. Again, it's not fundamental. It has nothing to do with fundamentals. Not like all these companies, all of a sudden, their revenues just started going crazy or something. That's not what happened. It's a theme, okay? This is one of the things that's helping that theme out right here. And you can see every time that MACD crosses the zero line and the RSI keeps falling, it drops. I'll bring up IWM. It absolutely loves it, okay? So you can definitely see that theme continuing if this is the case. If 10-year gets a bid and starts heading back up towards that trend line, that's going to be a whole different ball game, okay? But we'll bring up IWM so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. We'll compare it, change the color of it so you can see it if you've never seen this before. Not an exact correlation, but pretty dang close. And it really just has to do with the 10-year at certain levels. It's not the exact movement. It's when it breaks below certain levels and breaks above certain levels. But you can clearly see the Jaws effect there for sure. And so, especially when you get these big, fast moves down on the 10-year, you get a really fast move up on IWM, okay? And these are really nice, big moves. And so, again, if it starts to catch a bid, it's going to put stress on IWM. But if it starts to really fall, especially if that MACD goes below that zero line, then that shows you, the bears in control in the 10-year, and they can continue to push this down. Now, of course, we got the Fed meeting coming up this month, rate cuts, all that fun stuff. So expect volatility when it comes to that. Then, of course, you look over here at Amazon. I just want to show you something real quick. We had talked about, Black Friday sales and Cyber Mondays and all this fun stuff. And you can go back and just take a quick look, and you can see pretty consistently, right? Unless we're in a crash year or something's going on in the market crazy, you get a bump, right? Anywhere from like 4, 7%, something like that. Especially going in December to see how it acts in December because everybody's buying. And I told you all those news outlets are going to come out, right? So what they come out with today? We spent way more this year than we did last year. And I'm going to talk about Shopify in just a minute because Amazon and Shopify were both putting it out. And Shop's numbers are better. Amazon's numbers are better. And normally, you can just go back and research a certain time using that little tab down there if you got TradingView now and just look it up. And you can see pretty decent. So unless something crazy is going on, usually you'll see it. So if Amazon gets above 214, and obviously we 74% of the time S&P is actually green and we get the Santa rally, Amazon should participate in that. Okay, so again, feel free to go back, research that stuff. But again, you get the bump usually during Thanksgiving week. And sometimes there's usually a pullback at some point in time. Usually it's early December. And I don't say pullback, I mean like 1, 2, 3%, not some crazy crash or anything. But, now the one thing about Shop, it was participating, then it hit this trend line. This trend line goes back to 2022. And so it's been a very heavy like brick wall for Shop right here. When it hits it, it stops it in its tracks. And so this week, Monday, Tuesday, has not participated. And last week it was participating. But what's crazy about Shop, man, when you look at this thing, I mean, it's a $180 stock it used to be. And it's had a really, really good recovery because this stock, when you look at it, I mean, it got down to $23. It dropped, I think it was 85%. Now, so you want to talk about one that's recovered nicely, that will be one. That's how important e-commerce is and everything else. So, again, it continues to grind up against this trend line. If it ever breaks above that trend line, it's going to be cooking with Crisco for sure. Palantir, this was a news event. We put this box in, what was it, Saturday, Thursday, something like that, to see if it was starting to move up in this box, like it was trying to tease us. Well, big move today on some good news for it, and it says basically you can see it was the best performer in the S&P 500 today. And what happened is some government news. Palantir Technology stock was climbing Tuesday after the software company said it had secured authorization for its entire product suite to be used and processed sensitive federal workloads. The cloud computing company says entire suite of programs has been granted FedRAMP high authorization. FedRAMP is a program that promotes the adoption of secure cloud services at the federal level. So that thing skyrocketed, so it's in the next box. Now, a couple of stocks here I was looking at, or even the sector, is the oil stocks, right? So BP, looks like it's trying to at least bottom out here, maybe break out. And eventually this is going to happen. But you can see they're coming to these levels going pretty far back that were support resistance levels, right? You look at Oxy, same kind of chart right here, coming down into what used to be a resistance level and support level. And so that one both looks like they're trying to get a point where they'll start to break out. Oil just really has to catch a bid. And, you can look at the RSI and the MACDs down there. Obviously, it's got a long way to go. But if this starts to move, watch for it to get above the 50. Watch, this already got a bullish MACD cross, but see if he can get above that zero line. You can see us move up to the Warren Buffett area, at least where he used to buy. And what you can do is just go and look at the ratio, oil divided by SPY and stuff, and see right here, I can look at that and say that clearly has a trend line somewhere in here, but that looks like it's starting to get really, really tight. If we draw a trend line, you can put it wherever you want to put it. You can see right there, last time these stocks busted out, right? All of a sudden they started outperforming SPY, got a nice breakout right there. And you can put a trend line right here, right there, and you can see things are getting rather tight. You've had multiple rejections up there over this ratio right here. And so again, if that starts to break out and you see oil start to outperform SPY, these kind of stocks can get a bid, especially since they're definitely getting tight and coming into an area of interest for sure. And oil always gets a breakout eventually coming up, especially if you feel like there's going to be a recession, something like that. Eventually happen. I just don't know how Trump's policies are going to affect it or anything. It was positive, negative, I have no clue. So we'll see. Just bring them to your attention. Now, earnings, you got Chewy, Foot Locker, Dollar Tree, Cracker Barrel, Campbell's, and then in the afternoon, Sentinel One, American Eagle, Five Below, and ChargePoint again, which I still can't believe is in business. And then a lot of data coming out. ADP non-farm employment changes, final services PMI, ISM services PMI, factory orders, crude oil inventories. Supposedly Fed Powell speaks. I don't know what he's going to say. And then you got the beige book. So again, once again, last time to get your Cyber Monday sale, hit the link down in the description right there. Let me know how you guys are navigating these markets and any stocks you are liking. I always like to hear from you guys. Hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Feel free to sign up for the membership. Less than a McDonald's combo. So have a good one, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.